Hello, everybody. Welcome to this breaking news update on what has been going on at the White House Correspondents Dinner this evening, which has been dramatically disrupted as the Secret Service pulled Donald Trump and Melania Trump off the stage at the Washington Hilton. That's because 5 to 8 shots were heard fired from the magnetometer line just outside the ballroom. Now, there are conflicting reports as to what happened there. It's unclear whether it was the Secret Service that fired the shots or whether there was a gunman trying to get in. Let's show you the moments this happened. This comes from various different angles. Let's go to CBS first.
Washington Hilton Hotel, where this incident happened. The White House Correspondents Dinner was taking place. President Trump was in attendance at the time when somehow some noises were heard, and all of a sudden people ducked underneath their tables. And there was pandemonium for a moment. Nobody knew what was going on. The Secret Service came in and suddenly got the president. But we do have Tony on the line right now. Tony, you're there at the dinner. Tell us what happened right before people just ducked under their tables.
Yeah, Carissa, we seated. The president had been seated. Everyone had started tucking into a salad. And out of nowhere, the conversation was interrupted by
they may have lost the audio there. But let's show you the exact moment as this happened earlier on today. This is the scene. Secret Service moving in quickly to remove the president and Melania Trump after the shots were fired. Everyone ducking under their tables. This is a high-octane, full-powered media event. Of course, every major correspondent, TV news anchor, cabinet secretary, the vice president, everybody is in that room. So when shots are fired at an event like this, it is incredibly significant, obviously, and a real breach of protocol and security. The fact that this person was even able to reach the magnetometer section would be quite remarkable. The exact moment that this happened is now available to us from this video, and you can see someone is briefing Trump and Melania there, and just watch the reaction. The gasp, the gunfire, and then the Secret Service moved right in. And some more raw video available to us now. I want you to be able to see that video in a full screen, so I'm going to just pop out here and let you replay that so you can watch that whole sequence. There's the gunfire. You see the president still on the stage there. Secret Service rushing in to protect him, standing in front of him. Everyone hits the ground and under the tables. This all happened around 8:30 p.m. this evening at the Hilton in Washington, D.C. Now, I can also tell you the president issued 2 Truth Social posts during these events. The first one, I think this is the first one. Let's see. Let's go to this one first. Here he wrote, law enforcement has requested that we leave the premises. This is the second one, which we will do immediately. I'll be giving a press conference in 30 minutes from the White House press briefing room. That should be coming up any minute now. The First Lady plus the Vice President and all cabinet members are in perfect condition. We'll be speaking to you in a half hour. I've spoken with all the representatives in charge of the event, and we will be rescheduling this event within 30 days. President Donald J. Trump. Now, the earlier Truth Social post went something like this. Quite an evening in D.C. Secret Service and law enforcement did a fantastic job. They acted quietly and bravely. The shooter has been apprehended, and I have recommended that we let the show go on. but will entirely be guided by law enforcement. They will make a decision shortly, regardless of what their decision. The evening will be much different than planned, and we'll just plain have to do it again. So that is the latest, as we're seeing it now from the Hilton Hotel. We understand that everyone is sort of being told to leave. Some people are leaving. Some people are just sticking around. They're refusing to leave. We're not quite sure what benefit there is for them sticking around, but of course, some of them still want to report. They're at the scene, and we're waiting for the president to show up at the White House, where he left via motorcade a short while ago. He should be getting to the White House any minute now. The traffic is reportedly a nightmare right now in D.C. Let's take you inside live right now from what we can see now from this won't add for some reason. Double check why that is happening. What we were hoping to show you is the live images we're having at the White House Correspondents Dinner, where you see the empty tables and people are standing by hoping to get the press conference that Donald Trump is planning to give in just a few minutes from the White House. Now, I can tell already by the comments I've gotten that people are skeptical about what has been going on tonight. And, it's too early to be skeptical, and it's too early to rule anything in or anything out, I would say. I think what we have here is a absolute crisis in terms of the president's safety. If shots were fired, if anyone even came close to the shots being fired, that is a big deal in the United States of America. Obviously, we all have memories of the Reagan shooting, which took place not far from here. Now, the scene is being cleaned up. All the cutlery and the crockery and everything else that might have been ready for this event are being cleaned up right now. I wish I could show you that, but I can't for some reason. Let me try this way. There we go. Yeah. So this is what's going on right now via C-SPAN. C-SPAN. Yeah, that's correct. So I'll get you full screen on this one. And so they're cleaning this out, and we're awaiting the president to hold his news conference. Now, it's surprising that he's doing this news conference so quickly. This is still very much a live event. It's surprising that he wanted to have the show just go on, but that is this president of the United States. The skepticism is, of course, well earned because of what happened before. We know that there are many people who are still questioning the events in Butler, Pennsylvania, where perhaps there was an element of staging that went on there in that event, in that assassination. We're not saying that is, but people certainly have questioned that event. I'm going to keep playing this in the video as it broke out. This is the raw video. Let's take another look at what happened there and get a sense of these exact seconds as the president was rushed off the stage with the First Lady after gunshots were fired at the White House Correspondents' Dinner at the Washington Hilton Hotel. I'm going to re-rack that to the very beginning, and I just want to count the number of shots we hear there and take a closer look at the president and Melania, still very much at the, getting instructions about how the event's going to take place and the show, as he calls it. It's not really a show, although it is a show in D.C., but let's take a look at what's going on here from the very beginning. I counted 5. I don't know what you counted at home, but I counted 5 shots, and then everyone's scrambling. Everyone knows that, they got to hide, get under the tables, try to see. The entire White House Correspondents, includes every news anchor, every New York journalist, every cabinet secretary, every celebrity that would be willing to come to a Trump event. All are there sitting at these tables. And you see the reaction of the Secret Service, not perhaps the quickest, not as quick as you'd imagine, but he is certainly rushed off the stage. And we've heard now those two Truth Social posts that we've shared with you, which indicate that the president decided not to go back based on Secret Service instructions, based on protocol, is what he called it. And of course, it makes complete sense that he doesn't return to an event that has had a security breach. Regardless, this is what's going on in terms of the different explanations. Some people are saying that the president, the event was breached by a gunman, and that gunman fired shots. Now, it's not... Sorry, it's got a double audio coming at me. Just give me 1 second just to sort that out. So there's that version of it where people are saying, hey, there's shots that have been fired by a gunman. And that is backed up by Wolf Blitzer of CNN, by the way, who came on camera and told everyone that. He said to everybody that there was a gunman that took a very serious-looking weapon and fired it within a few feet of him at everybody. Now, that is not what others are reporting actually happened. What others are reporting actually happened is that the president's Secret Service team decided to open fire on someone who was trying to get into the event. So we're not sure who it is. We're not sure who decided to get into the event. We're not sure how it got to the point where Secret Service decided to open fire on this person, but that is a more accurate version, we believe, of what happened. So initially, we had reports that a gunman was shot. Then we had reports that the gunman had been apprehended. The apprehended part is right. The gunman part, we're not even sure about yet. We're not even sure if the person had a gun. What we do know is that shots were fired out, and you fired at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. You heard it there in that raw video. 5 shots were fired, but those could have been Secret Service shots that were fired in order to stop someone who might have been trying to access the White House Correspondents' Dinner and had got into the magnetometers, and then from there was trying to gain access and was apprehended because, I don't know what happened there. We'll have to wait for that eyewitness video, but that does change the storyline that we've been hearing, at least initial storyline that we began hearing from the president and the White House. Now we're going to await their press conference, but we may not stick to it. I don't know if it's worthy of a long wait here, but let's see. We're getting our first pictures now of the people scrambling at the White House for this event. All the reporters, of course, are not there. All the reporters are at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, so they all have to get back to the White House to do this press conference, which should start any minute now, with the President of the United States 45 minutes after leaving the Hilton Hotel, returning to the White House to tell people what he knows happened. And this will be an interesting thing. Because let's be clear, this president is the art of the narrative builder, is the art of the, how can we say this, but, false narratives that he makes. This is that president. So, we have to be very critical of what we're about to hear. We have to be very skeptical of what we're about to hear. On the other hand, this is a significant event. It's not often you get to a situation where the president of the United States, although it has happened 3 times now to this man, is being shot at or has been in the vicinity of shots being fired at. That's obviously a super significant thing, and we can't take it lightly. On the other hand, is just the same questions that follow him time and time again. No one's really sure of whether they are spinning a narrative all the time, or whether they are telling us the whole truth. So just after 20 past 10 at the White House, they are now standing by for the President of the United States to join. I'm going to check your comments really briefly here. And while we do that, I hope you don't mind a little bit of silence. Everyone online is saying, oh boy, I can't even read these statements. There's so many. No, it actually has not happened 3 times. Someone's saying, well, this is the 3rd event. I think that their shots had been fired in the vicinity. The first was at the Butler event. Then the other assassination attempt that apparently happened on his golf course. And then this one. So now, what else has got? I'm going to try. I have tried to reach Waj, and I've tried to reach the Alev. I don't see if any of them are available to me yet. I've asked them both to come on. I don't know if they're busy doing their own lives. They probably are. Also asked Dean to join us. Dean is at the Substack event there at the White House, so we're waiting for that. Yeah, Levitt's already been live. So Carol Levitt had said something pretty remarkable before. That's true. She said before the event, there was some notice about shots being, he's coming to fire shots or something like that, because he's fully loaded, or whatever language they were using seemed quite remarkable that it was so consistent with events that followed. I don't know what she was talking about there. Probably just a metaphor. I can't imagine that's exactly what was going on. Lev will join us in 10 minutes. That'll be good if he can do that. But we are beginning to get a framework here. What appears to be incorrect initial reporting that there was a gunman who shot at the event. And that's the reason that the president was rushed away, when in fact the shots were fired, but likely they were fired by the Secret Service personnel who were protecting the event. Still extremely significant, of course. You can't for a second say that's not significant, but it does change the framework of what we initially heard from Wolf Blitzer and others, who said that the entire thing involved a gunman opening fire, and that, of course, would make a huge difference. Okay, let me just reset here a little bit and see if we can get more details about this press conference and whether it's happening or not. And in the meantime, I'm going to let you listen to, I guess it'll be C-SPAN coverage, because I don't think the MS Now thing has any voice on it, but let me try. I think you can hear that. That is the actual sound from inside the press briefing room at the White House, where they are currently waiting the President of the United States. Do tell me if you can hear it. If you can't hear it, let me know. So now they're saying that the shots were fired quite some way away. And of course, there is gunmen apprehended, but I don't know if we can say that it's gunmen. I just don't think we know enough yet, do we? Let me double check here. This is a breaking news story, and it's hard to do this live while also hosting a TV live coverage event. So give me a second while I keep trying to follow all the news sources here. So far, I don't see very distinctive, different reporting from anybody else. But if you guys are seeing anything unique that is suggesting that the coverage is not as we've been suggesting, that it's not quite a gunman that was the reason for this apprehension. Apparently, Waj Lyon has reported the shooter ID. Okay, so Trump says shooter apprehended as White House Correspondents Dinner is evacuated. Yeah, I'm not seeing any change in thing here, but I'm monitoring this on various sources, and it seems to me that the story that might have been that people wanted to build is different than what is actually happened. So the original story was that a gunman opened fire, Secret Service shot him, killed him, and then and that was the story. That isn't exactly what happened. We've got now a shooter being apprehended, and then we're not even sure he was a shooter because he may not have even been having a gun on him. But we just don't know that yet. The shots that were fired, those came from the Secret Service personnel, as far as we are being told right now. So let me double check that. This is a very remarkably dense event. If any of you have ever been to the White House Correspondents' Dinner, it is full of people. It takes a long time on an average night to get in. it will take equally long to get out. The chaos that pursues at one of these events, the traffic, it's really a nightmare to attend one of these events. And because you can just see how packed it is. And then, of course, the ballroom itself is like not up on level ground. You have to go underground to get to the ballroom. I think maybe a couple of levels. And that makes it even more complicated for people to get evacuated. They have to, find their way up escalators and elevators, and it's not necessarily an easy place to leave. It is deemed a secure venue, but I just don't see how it is that secure, considering what we've learned tonight about the complication of leaving. We also had John Roberts apparently on Fox saying that Secret Service engaged the shooter after he opened fire. So now that's two independent reporters at the scene, CNN and Fox, both saying that there were shots were fired by the reporter, by the gunman first. But we don't have that confirmation, and we're not going to jump to that conclusion yet because we just don't see all these facts lining up as they should. What we do know is that there were gunshots heard in the room, because that's what we could see from that video, which we'll play you again right now, as everyone was seated there and the president was seated there. Although it does look like the president's about to come out, so we'll just give him a second here to do that. This is now 2 hours after the shooting incident took place at the White House Correspondents Dinner. It's been a very different White House Correspondents Dinner. Of course, everybody was speculating going into this that the president was going to be, he had a hard time. He was going to have a hard time with this crowd, that many people, journalists, didn't even want to be associated with going there. And so his decision to attend the White House Correspondents' Dinner was significant. And now the fact that it's been turned into really on its head is quite remarkable, because what originally was planned was a bit of a roasting of the president and his policies and a whole lot of other things. I don't think that is going to be the case in the next White House Correspondents' Dinner when they reschedule this event, because of this incident. I mean, it's just become a lot more serious now, considering this. Now, not far away from here, at the Substack event, there are a lot of people that have been gathering, having a sort of anti White House Correspondents' Dinner event. Well, that's interesting too, isn't it? That's been going on to sort of protest the event. And here we are. So I'm going to make sure Lev has the details of how to jump on if he can. I'll issue the same to Dean, although he has been not responding to any texts. And Gather Waj is doing his own live. But we'll keep staying here because I think it's important to watch this press conference just from the spin perspective. We were going to get it. Anytime they come on so quickly and they build so quickly into a narrative, it makes you question the narrative. Normally this White House is reactive. When they become proactive on narrative builds, you have to sort of, you just have to question everything. And so it's unfortunate. Here we are at this crossroads in American history where we're having to question everything the President of the United States says and the narratives that are shifted out of the White House. But that's just where we are. Yeah, I think the exact language that Carolyn Levitt used, and I might be able to pull it for us here because it was distinctive that she used this shots will be fired language. It's quite unusual for her to use that metaphor, that phrase, ahead of the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And of course, certainly, and I don't know what you would call it, projection or prescience or something else. The fact that she was able to identify, she said those words just hours before the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Well, that is something else. Let me see if I can find that for you, and then if not, we might sign off in the hope that this press conference gets going soon. If not, we'll probably just let it ride out and see what happens in the news and come back a little later, rather than just sit here and tread water for too long. But let me double check what the latest is here, as I'll try to get you the statement from Carolyn Levitt. So you're watching our breaking news coverage, and this is still a developing story. We do not know yet exactly what happened at the Hilton Hotel tonight in Washington, D.C., where the shots were fired by the Secret Service. At least we can confirm that part. We don't know if shots were fired by anybody else. But there are claims that a gunman tried to come in there and did try to open fire, or had opened fire. We can't confirm those. What we do know is that someone was apprehended. That's as far as we can say happened. So let's listen. This is Carolyn Levitt just before, and it's the quote that everyone keeps referring to.
It'll be entertaining. There will be some shots fired tonight in the room. So everyone should tune in. It's going to be really great. I'm looking forward to hearing it.
I love it.
Let's take a listen to that again. I mean, this is just before the event on Fox News. Carolyn Levitt, the White House press spokesperson, saying there that shots will be fired.
It'll be funny. It'll be entertaining. There will be some shots fired tonight in the room. So everyone should tune in. It's going to be really great. I'm looking forward to hearing it.
I love it.
Boy, I don't know what to make of that. I mean, clearly, it's weird. Let's see what else is going on here while we wait for the president to, he said his press conference is going to start much earlier than this. Of course, he's delayed. Let's see why this delay continues to happen. He is back at the White House. Maybe they're just waiting to get some new information. Maybe they are. Maybe they're just gathering their thoughts about what to say. Just checking again what's going on the other news sources. I can play you just a second. I'll be able to play you the CBS News correspondent whose job it is to run the White House Correspondents Association. What she announced, what she said as the events took place. And then I think we are beginning to now get the video that we were hoping to get earlier, which is the actual moment the shooting took place. So by the magnetometers. So let's see. And I'm getting a bunch of these right now, all at the same time. So bear with me while I do that. And I'm just going to ask you just be patient while we get all this video together here.
Is everybody okay? Yes. Sorry for the hopping over the fence here. Thanks.
Here is the president.
Well, thank you very much. That was very unexpected, but incredibly acted upon by Secret Service and law enforcement. And this was an event dedicated to freedom of speech that was supposed to bring together members of both parties with members of the press. And in a certain way it did, because the fact that they just unified, I saw a room that was just totally unified. It was in one way a very beautiful thing to see. A man charged a security checkpoint armed with multiple weapons, and he was taken down by some very brave members of Secret Service, and they acted very quickly and have just released, for purposes of transparency, clarity, I've ordered it to be put out. You probably have it by now, put out on Truth and put out on many other platforms. A tape showing the violence of this thug that attacked our Constitution, and also showing how quickly Secret Service and law enforcement acted on our country's behalf. Really did a great job. One officer was shot, but saved by the fact that he was wearing obviously a very good bulletproof vest. He was shot from very close distance with a very powerful gun, and the vest did the job. I just spoke to the officer, and he's doing great. He's in great shape. He is has very high spirits, and we told him we love him and respect him, and he's a very proud guy. He's very proud of what he does, Secret Service agent. And we looked at all of the conditions that took place tonight, and I will say, you know, it's not a particularly secure building, and I didn't want to say this, but this is why we have to have all of the attributes of what we're planning at the White House. It's actually a larger room, and it's much more secure. It's drone proof, it's bulletproof glass. We need the ballroom. That's why Secret Service, that's why the military are demanding it. They've wanted the ballroom for 150 years for lots of different reasons, but today's a little bit different because today we need levels of security that probably nobody's ever seen before. But everyone owes a tremendous debt of gratitude to the courage of law enforcement, the law enforcement, and working with the DC police. And we just spoke with the mayor. And when we're finished, the police chief is going to take over and discuss it also from their viewpoint. But they also performed exactly as they were supposed to. And you see the attacker in different positions, but you also see the attacker totally subdued and under control. So as you know, this is not the first time in the past couple of years that our republic has been attacked by a would-be assassin who sought to kill. In Butler, Pennsylvania, less than 2 years ago, you all know that story. And in Palm Beach, Florida, a few months after that, we came close. We really had, again, we had some great work done by law enforcement. But in light of this evening's events, I asked that all Americans recommit with their hearts in resolving our difference peacefully. We have to resolve our differences. I will say, you had Republicans, Democrats, independents, conservatives, liberals, and progressives. Those words are interchangeable, perhaps, but maybe they're not. But yet everybody in that room, big crowd, record-setting crowd. There was a record-setting group of people. And there was a tremendous amount of love and coming together. I watched, and I was very, very impressed by that. But First Lady and I were taken very well care of, very quickly rushed off the stage. Vice President JD Vance, who's here, was likewise beautifully done. He was just saying how quickly everybody acted, law enforcement, Secret Service in particular in this case, but law enforcement. Marco had the same thing. Pete was there. Pete didn't want any help. He didn't want anybody to help. He doesn't want anybody to help him, but he did get some, didn't you? And I think you also said that it was very impressive. So with that, I'd like to ask Todd Blanche to come up, say a few words, and tell you it's already underway. The man has been captured. They're going to his apartment. I guess he lives in California, and he's a sick person, a very sick person. And we don't want things like this to happen. I think it's very important that I say, though, and I told the representatives of the evening, they did such a beautiful job. It was such a beautiful evening. And again, they're talking about free speech in our Constitution. That's what it's all about, not just White House correspondents. It was really based on free speech in our Constitution. But I said very importantly that we'll do it again within the next 30 days, and we'll make it bigger and better and even nicer. So I just want to thank everybody that was involved. I also want to thank the press, the media. You've been very responsible in your coverage. I will say I've been seeing what's been out. You've been very responsible. So Todd Blanche, I'd like to say a few words, and then we're going to have Kash. And then you're going to go on. We can ask, I guess we can take a couple of questions. I want to thank the First Lady that was a rather traumatic experience for her. There was a lot of action taking place up there very quickly. But again, the response time was really incredible. And we're going to reschedule. We're going to do it again. We're not going to let anybody take over our society. We're not going to cancel things out because we can't do that. We wanted to stay tonight. I will tell you, I fought like hell to stay. But they It was protocol. They said, please, sir, because they didn't know there was a lot of action going on, and they didn't know, could there be probably a lone shooter, but we'll find out. We'll find out very quickly. They have it very well under control. So I want to thank everybody very much. And Todd Blanche, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Tonight you saw the very worst and the very best of this country. You saw the very worst by the actions of that coward that the president just talked about. But you also saw the very best because you saw law enforcement do exactly what they're supposed to do. And you'll see the videos come out, I expect, very shortly, and you'll see law enforcement do exactly what we want them to do. And so I echo what what President Trump just said, that we are extraordinarily grateful and appreciative of the men and women of law enforcement that did their jobs tonight, including one who was injured. This investigation is ongoing. I expect you will see charges filed shortly. The charges should be self-evident given the conduct, but as you'll hear, there will be multiple charges surrounding the shooting, around the possession of firearms, and anything else that we can get on this guy. The investigation is obviously ongoing and just started. There is federal law enforcement already working on search warrants and doing their job, and I don't want to get ahead of them and don't want to get ahead of the work that they're doing even as we speak. Director Patel and I were just on the crime scene a short while ago, and everybody in this room should rest assured that the Metropolitan Police Department, the FBI, Secret Service, everybody's on the scene doing their job. I know that the police chief is going to give an update from the scene as soon as we're finished here, and I obviously will lead the details of what they have learned to him. But in the meantime, I just want to thank everybody in this room for the courage, and I want to thank President Trump for his words, and I promise you, justice will be served. Thank you, Dr. Patel.
Thank you, General. Thank you, Mr. President. The president's absolutely right. You saw the best resolve of American law enforcement because you, Mr.
Okay,
President,
I'm going to leave it there because
you give them the resources that they need, and they know that you have their back. And that is a changing dynamic in this country. And that's why you saw brave Secret Service agents respond immediately, swiftly, subdue and take down the suspect and safeguard the lives of thousands of individuals at that hotel. Thanks to our interagency partnership with the Department of Homeland Security and the Metropolitan Police Department, the FBI was rapidly deployed onto the scene, took over the evidence response unit, is examining all the ballistics that were found on scene to include the long gun and the shell casings. We are conducting witness interviews as we speak. You will hear from our team on the scene there with the mayor and the head of the FBI field division there. But please know what the Attorney General has just said rings no truer. You saw the very best of America tonight. The very best unite us at a time of uncertainty because we have leadership here with the president and the vice president that backs law enforcement. And the men and women that I shook their hands on the scene today could not have been prouder to show up on scene. And as the Attorney General said, make no mistake, we are conducting witness interviews. If you have any information whatsoever related to this event, 1-800-CALL-FBI, 1-800-CALL-FBI. No piece of information is too small. No piece of information is inadequate. We will evaluate it all. We will also be conducting interviews of those that were there. And if any of those individuals have information, please come forward to law enforcement or the FBI or the Metropolitan Police Department. We will be examining this individual's background thoroughly. That process has already started. And we are going to ensure that he was either a lone wolf actor or anyone else that was responsible. We will analyze all evidence immediately to make sure that we safeguard this country. Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, thank you for your leadership. Attorney General and Homeland Secretary Merlin, thank you for your partnership in law enforcement.
Thank you. Okay, we'll do a couple and then we go to the chair. Madam Chairman, I just want to say you did a fantastic job. What a beautiful evening, and we're going to reschedule. Okay. And after that, it's very tough for her to ask a killer question, right? But you have done a fantastic job. Please.
Mr. President, I appreciate it. As you mentioned, it all happened so quickly.
Yeah.
And I wonder, especially because unfortunately you have experience with these sorts of threats, in that moment when you realized there was a threat and service agents were telling us to get down, can you describe what was going through your mind, how you were feeling in that moment?
That's a very good question, actually. It's always shocking when something like this happens. Happened to me a little bit. And That never changes. The fact we were sitting right next to each other, First Lady on my right, and I heard a noise and sort of thought it was a tray. I thought it was a tray going down. I've heard that many times, and it was pretty loud noise. And it was from quite far away. He hadn't breached the area at all. They really got him. But so it was quite far away, but it was a gun. And some people really understood that pretty quickly. Other people didn't. I was watching to see what was happening. Probably should have gone down even faster. Melania was very cognizant, I think, of what happened. I think she knew immediately what happened. She was saying, "That's a bad noise," and we were whisked away along with other people, but we were really whisked away. And again, the performance of the Secret Service and the police, all of the law enforcement, I thought was really good. So it was very quick. There wasn't a lot of time to be thinking because it was a matter of seconds before we were out the door and gone into an area. We very much, and you wanted to too, we very much wanted to continue it because I don't like to let these sick people, these thugs, these horrible, horrible people change the fabric of our life, change the course of what we do. So we held out. You were there. We held out right till the end, but they didn't want to take a chance, and I understand there was protocol. But we're going to be doing one hopefully within the next 30 days or sooner, and I am ready, willing, and able. And I was all set to really rip it. And I said to my people, this would be the most inappropriate speech ever made if I said what. So I'll have to save it. I don't know if I could ever be as rough as I was going to be tonight. I think I'm going to be probably very nice. I'll be very boring the next time, but we're going to have a great event. And you did a fantastic job. Thank you very much. Peter, go ahead.
Thank you, President Trump. There's a report in the New York Post that this assailant assembled his weapon somewhere on site at the hotel. What do you think about that? And I ask respectfully, why do you think this keeps happening to you?
Well, you know, I've studied assassinations, and I must tell you, the most impactful people, the people that do the most, you take a look at the people, Abraham Lincoln, I mean, you go through the people that have gone through this where they got them, but the people that do the most, the people that make the biggest impact, they're the ones that they go after. They don't go after the ones that don't do much because they like it that way. And when you look at the people that have either, whether it was an attempt or a successful attempt, they're very impactful people. Just take a look at the names there, the big names. And I hate to say I'm honored by that, but I've done a lot. We've done a lot. We've taken this country, and we were a laughing stock for years, and now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. We've changed this country, and there are a lot of people that are not happy about that. So I think that's the answer, Peter.
And after Butler, your team for a while rethought outdoor events.
Yeah.
Do you think that you now need to rethink
No.
indoor?
Well, but then you just don't do events. No, I can't do that. I have to. It is what it is. We have to do it. The room was very, very secure. You know, he charged from 50 yards away, so he was very far away from the room.
And what did you think when you saw the video of how fast he was running?
He was moving. He was really moving. And the reaction time was great. Boy, those guys, they had their guns drawn literally by the time he was there. They were shooting.
That's right.
I thought they were very impressive. And if I didn't, I'd let you know. I'm not going to be, I would not stand for that. No, I thought they were very impressive.
Thank you, President Trump, and thank you for updating us on the
Thank you.
suspect earlier. Were you aware of any threats? Was your team aware of any threats beforehand? And do you believe you were the target of this tonight?
I guess. I mean, these people they're crazy. They're crazy. And, you never know. He was very far away from me. He had to go through a lot. We had resources all over. We had resources sitting at tables, literally in disguise, sitting maybe at your table, who knows? But we had people all over the room, so he had a long way to go. That was really a first line of defense, and they got him. And they really, they acted incredibly. No, there was no notification. We had no idea. Go ahead,
Do you know
Kevin.
any political motivations from this?
Well, you never know. Now, we'll be able to tell you that maybe by tomorrow or the next day. He's in custody, and They're asking him a lot of questions. I guess they're going over, Todd, and they're already at his apartment. He lives in California.
Yes, sir.
And they're over there, so they'll be able to tell you. Thank you, Caitlin.
President Trump, did the suspect say anything, or was he wearing anything that would allege some type of motive here?
Nothing, no, I mean, he was a guy who looked pretty evil when he was down. You know, they had him down. He was fighting hard. He was in my opinion, a sick person. Who would do that but a sick person? But I think you're going to find everything about him. No reason to talk about it now. But tomorrow at this time, long before this time, you're going to know a lot of things about him. They seem to think he was a lone wolf, and I feel that too.
Are you concerned about U.S. Secret Service protection ability? We saw several of the detailees take minutes to be escorted out of the room.
No, they acted very quickly. No, I was very impressed by Secret Service. I mean, I'm the one, and Mark Wayne, you would agree with that, I think.
Absolutely.
I'm the one that would complain. You don't have to complain for me. I would be complaining. I'd be up here right now saying they didn't do their job. Well, believe me, because, you know, it's my life. And I want to live because I want to make this country great. That's why I want to live. But when you're impactful, they go after you. When you're not impactful, they leave you alone. Okay, a couple of more. Go ahead, please.
Is there any indication that this shooting could have been linked to the war in Iran?
I don't think so, but you never know. We're going to know a lot. We have the best people in the world working on it, and we're going to know a lot. Please.
Mr. President, there's a lot. There's you, as well as some of us who have covered Butler, experienced another horrific day 2 years ago.
Yeah.
What felt similar? You know, you had the First Lady with you today. What felt different? And you have another 2+ years in office. Are you concerned about something like this happening?
Well, I
again?
can't be concerned. I can only get great people. They did the job, in my opinion, a much better job than Butler. Butler had one weak spot that we all know about. Somebody should have been up there. But even Butler, we had our sniper on our side within 4.2 seconds from a distance of about 400 yards, one shot, and he was gone. And if he didn't do it now, you know, he's David. His name was David. I say, hello, David, every time I see him. David, I like you very much, David. But think of that. Now, if he doesn't hit him, and he hit him right between the eyes from 400 yards without any notice, nobody knew. He heard a sound. He looked over, and there was actually a tree that was somewhat in his way. You know the story very well. And he aimed, he fired. And if he didn't do that, beyond me, you would have had a lot more people killed. We lost one great person and 2 people very badly hurt. They're okay now. But no, that was so in a sense, you know, that was pretty amazing, the job they did. But they did have that one weak spot. As you know, they should have had that covered. Tonight, they had everything covered very quickly. And he was fast. He was running full blast, and they got him before they got any further. I was very far away. You know, he hadn't anywhere close to breach the doors of the ballroom. The ballroom was sealed, and everybody in there. That's why once those doors opened, they didn't want to do tonight. If the doors weren't opened, we could have probably done it tonight. But I think we're much better off rescheduling. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, for you and perhaps law enforcement as well, what is the level of confidence that this was a lone actor? And has the suspect made any statements to police while in custody?
Yeah, I think it's just it's not my profession. We have great professionals up here and outside that have been working with us. My impression is he was a lone wolf, whack job. These are crazy people. And they have to be dealt with. We had that in the second attempt, as you know, and he's spending life in prison. Because if you let him out, they'll probably, you know, if he serves 10 years or 15 years, you let him out, he'll probably try it again with somebody else. They're sick people. We have a lot of sick people. But you're going to know, I think very shortly, you're going to know, Todd, a lot about him. You're going to know a lot about him. Yeah, a couple of more. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Are you concerned about political violence? This could be politically motivated.
All violence. I'm concerned about everything. Look, but I can't be so concerned that you can't function. No, I'm here. It's a dangerous profession. You know, I tell the story, race car drivers, I think it's very dangerous. So If you take 1% and then take about 10% of 1%, just to break it down very easily, they die. So much less than 1%, 10% of 1%. I think bull riding is very dangerous. If you take about the same 10% of 1%, much less than 1%. But if you take presidents, it's 5.8%. And about 8% are shot at. So nobody told me this was such a dangerous profession. If Marco would have told me, maybe I wouldn't have run. Maybe I would have said, I'll take a pass. No, it's a dangerous profession, but I don't view it that way. Look, I'm here to do a job. As part of the job, it is a dangerous, I can't imagine that there's any profession that's more dangerous, but I love the country and I'm very proud. I'm very proud of the job we've done. You see what's happened. We have a great country. We've got, I think, the most successful, the hottest country anywhere in the world. This happened over a period of just a year, and we're going to do great things, but with that come risks. There's no question about it. Yeah.
To that end, I mean, there's been so much political violence, not just aimed at yourself, but at other members of Congress, state house speakers, you name it. Is that just the cost of doing business to do politics in America anymore?
Yeah. Well,
what does that say about our country?
Elsewhere too. You know, we're not the only country. You look at this great violence with all countries. I was talking to somebody from another country today, and they have numerous assassinations of political figures all over the world. You look at South America, it's like some of the numbers are just horrific. It's dangerous stuff, whether it's here or someplace else. No country is immune. No country. Good question.
At this point?
Well, probably if I decided to just not do much, if I let everybody rip us off and take advantage of us. Look, we're leading the world in trade now. We're leading the world in the military. We're the greatest military in the world. I rebuilt it in my first term, and now we use it because we have no choice. We can't let, as an example, Iran, we can't let them get a nuclear weapon. Everything will be peanuts compared to that if they ever were given a nuclear weapon, and they'd use it too. Marco and I were talking about it today. They would use it without even hesitation. We can't do that. It was a shame. I said, oh boy, look at the numbers. We just broke 50,000 in the Dow. We just broke 7,000 in the S&P. They said we couldn't do it in 7 years, in 5 years, 4 years. They were saying maybe in 5 or 6 years. And we did it in 1 year. And I called everybody together. I called all of these people and others. And I said, we have to take a little journey. I see to do this. We just had the great number. We just broke 50,000. Wasn't supposed to happen during my term. Wasn't reachable. Did it in 1 year. And I said, we're going to have to make a journey to Iran. They're going to have a nuclear weapon if we don't do it. We had the B-2 bombers take them out. I terminated in the first term the Obama agreement, the Iran nuclear agreement, which was a disaster. That was a road to a nuclear weapon. They would have used it. They would have used it 100%. So, when you do things like that, you become a target. If I wasn't doing that, I guess I'd be a lot less of a target. But I'm honored to be. Okay, one more question. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, President Trump. Thank you, President Trump. Did you know how the gun was brought into the hotel? And also, how does this event impact you as the leader of our country? Do you think it will change your
I
leadership?
like not to think about it. I lead a pretty normal life, considering it's a dangerous life. I think I handle it as well as it can be handled. I think a lot of other people, you read stories where they become basket cases. To be honest with you, I'm not a basket case. I really take it as it is. I do it for the country. I'm not doing it for any other reason. I have a first lady who's doing a terrific job. She loves the country, and she recognizes it better than anybody. She's told me numerous times. She said, you are in a dangerous job, but that goes along with her too. I mean, it's dangerous for her too. We sat there tonight, we heard that noise, and it was either a tray or a bullet. I was hoping it was a tray, but it wasn't. And again, we had some very brave people doing a great job, so we're very proud of them and happy with them. I just want to thank everybody. They will be able to give you all that information as to the names and everything else. I think we released the names already. Most of you would have it, but his name. We appreciate it. I see so many tuxedos and beautiful dresses. It was a little different evening than we thought, but we're going to do it again, and we have a great chairman who we're so proud of, and we have to make it better. We'll make it safer, I guess, right? But we're going to make it even better. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
About how impactful this was. Can we hear from her about?
Well, honey, would you want to say something?
Okay.
Right.
Many of the people across the globe, in fact, are watching you. You demonstrated courageous leadership, and thank God you're alive. All of us are alive today. What is the message that you want to give to the world that this should change? What corrective measures can we take from here on?
Well, all you can do, look, I don't care how many people you have, how good they are. They can be the greatest people. You have the greatest security in history. If you have a whack job who's got a brain, but it's a little bit distorted or a lot distorted, they can make trouble. I would say, Pete, right? You know, they can make trouble. Some of these people are of genius level IQ, and they're nuts. So it can be trouble. So you do absolutely the best. You get the best. We have the best people. Well, look, it was proven tonight. He started running from 50 yards, and he was fast. He was like a blur on tape. He was moving. It was very impressive the way they got him, because a lot of people would be looking and saying, you know, it's like a weird feeling, and they would let him get through, but they didn't let him get through. They drew those guns so fast. They looked like Matt Dillon. They looked like somebody that knew what they were doing, and we really do. But it comes with the territory. And if you want to do a great job, I really believe that. And you take a look at what's happened to some of our greatest presidents, and it doesn't happen to people that don't do anything. And it's not going to deter me from winning the war in Iran. I don't know if that had anything to do with it. I really don't think so, based on what we know. But we're going to continue to do a great job. That's all I can do. Thank you very much.
I think it's time for us to jump in here, because this is going on for a while, unless he says anything else here. That's the President of the United States ending his live press conference, where he was speaking about what happened tonight at the White House Correspondents Dinner, where a man apparently armed stormed the magnetometers and charged towards the stage, charged towards the ballroom. Apparently, then Secret Service drew their weapons and shot at him. We understand that the gunfire that we heard in the original videotape, that came from the Secret Service and not from the gunman. Lev Parnas is joining us. He'll be here in just a few seconds. But while we just get that set up, here's the video that the president's been talking about.
Shall I post it as soon as he passed down?
18, go for
I couldn't see Lev when I joined to put him up there. So maybe if Lev, if you're still joining us, let us know. But I want to play that again. This is Secret Service video issued by the White House. Apparently surveillance video is what we're seeing here. He said that's the guy charging in. I'll play it one more time for you here.
Shall I post it as soon as he passed down?
18, go for
Let's rack it again to the very beginning here and show you what the president is describing now as the video of tonight's shooter or alleged shooter. Here he is charging in really fast, trying to get through, and then you see the reaction time as the weapons being drawn and the gunfire being fired. I'm going to do it one more time for you guys, just so you get to see exactly what it is.
Shall I post it as soon as he passed down?
18, go for
Now, we know now that the gunman is, and Lev has disappeared. I don't think he had difficulty with his signal there, but join us again, Lev, if you can. The gunman is apparently Cole Tomas Allen, 31 years old, from Torrance, California. We've seen this across all news sources and from our own sourcing at the DOJ. The biographical detail is that he is a registered Democrat. a left-wing partisan framing is already beginning to emerge. We heard the president talking about him being a whack job. You heard the president talking about the entire event tonight being a unifying event. Yet here we are already seeing him label the person as a whack job. And we're now knowing that he is Cole Tomas Allen, 31 years old, a Democrat from Torrance, California, apparently. He is a Caltech grad master's in computer science. Smart guy, as the president pointed out. And he also is a teacher of the month at the LA County, reportedly a classroom teacher. Well, that's something else. So this is a 31-year-old classroom teacher with a computer science degree who apparently decided to storm the Hilton Hotel today at the White House Correspondents Dinner. And we've seen the video of him charging in through there, and then all the incredible reaction by the Secret Service. Now, it happened all after about 8:30 p.m. this evening. Allen apparently entered the hotel. He got through an unsecured back room and then assembled a long gun, and that's the long gun that they say he was armed with. And then he was also carrying a handgun. He moved towards the magnetometers outside the ballroom, and then Secret Service engaged him. So the original reporting this evening was that a gunman had been shot. That is not, in fact, the case. He was apprehended. The fires that were shot or heard during the White House Correspondents' Dinner, there's 5 or 6 shots that were fired, was Secret Service responding to him breaching the outer perimeter of the security at the Hilton Hotel. There is some other video coming into us tonight, and let's see what it is. Video from inside the White House Correspondents' Dinner, where you're clearly seeing members of the media, but also members of the cabinet. There's Pete Hegseth.
What are we doing?
I don't recognize any of the others yet, but maybe I'm just having a chance to properly assess this. I mean, whoever's chanting USA in the middle of an event like this, really? So this is moments after the actual event. Let's take a look at this other video that's also come to us. That's the vice president being taken away. Before the president was taken away. That is really interesting. And then he fell or tripped. It looks like the president tripped on his way out there. Let's take a look at that one again.
There's the president.
So we're going to start off here with just look at the vice president quickly being moved out of the way before the president. President's tripping there on his way out or something, falling to the ground, is being moved out of the...
There's the president being escorted. The president being escorted out.
That's really interesting. That is remarkable video that we've gotten from inside the White House Correspondents' Dinner, which adds to the earlier video of when they found and heard those gunshots. The president said it was Melania who knew right away what it was. Now, this is video of what was going on at the magnetometers, where we are maybe seeing the alleged gunman, Cole Tomas Allen, 31 years old, I think, if you look at the beginning of that video, is on the ground there. Let's double check as we move forward really slowly. Can't really tell from this vantage point, but it does look like they've gotten someone pinned to the ground. I think that's what it looks like. We're not going to cover Mayor Bowser. I know that she's out there, and I know there's an investigation going on, and there's a lot yet still to be determined about tonight. But we're not. We're going to have to sign off soon, and I just don't see that this is going to develop in a way that's going to be any different. I think what we're seeing is what can only be described as a gunman armed with a long gun and a handgun attempting to breach the Hilton Hotel and the White House Correspondents' Dinner, making a quick run for it through the magnetometers section, and Secret Service doing their job at the outside perimeter and apprehending him. We now know who he is. Thomas is his name. He is from California. And he's a school teacher, along with being a computer science expert. The president is safe. The vice president is safe. The members of the cabinet are safe. The first lady is safe. Everyone is back at the White House. Many of you are going to be saying what everyone is thinking. How much is it possible that this is, not what it seems? Because we've been in this rodeo before with the president of the United States, where there is a manufactured event where we're not really sure of the details and why things have happened in the way they are, but the way they unfold makes you question them. This was a very quick reaction timing. It was the White House Correspondents' Dinner, so the White House correspondents were already geared up. Of course, they're going for the White House press conference in this, and the president seemed to be quite willing to talk about it. So, that's one way of looking at it, just a normal event that took place. On the other hand, there is, he mentioned the call for the ballroom, which is one of his big sticking points. He wants the ballroom to be built. He was saying that this event wasn't safe because of the fact that they could have had a much safer ballroom. That, to me, starts to ring a little bit weirdly on the tail end of an event like this, where the president's life was at stake, as was the potentially the lives of the entire White House Correspondents' press corps. So, you ask that question, and then, there are just a couple of moments there. Certainly, Kash Patel looked like he was speaking very, very fast. It does look to me like the vice president looked like more concerned, and the concern around the vice president seemed to be more real than what was going on around the president, which seemed to be much more slow-paced and lackadaisical almost, compared to the VP, who was pulled out of there in no uncertain terms very, very quickly. We shall see what will happen. I mean, they've moved very quickly. They've identified who it is. They've gone to his home already. We're not sure why this man took the trip from California to DC for this, school teacher at that. But we will answer those questions over the next few days. Hard to tell whether what we're looking at is natural event, because these days you just don't know how much is being projected as a narrative. But, for the facts as they were, we know that Cole Tomas Allen is the guy that stormed through those magnetometers. He was armed with a long gun and a handgun, and that the Secret Service of the people there you can see them here. The surveillance video, they pull their weapons very quickly, and they are able to apprehend him. Inside, it was pandemonium, as people did not get a lot of information, but they ultimately did get the information. I'm going to leave it to you at home to figure out whether this was, the events as they normally have happened, or is the president trying to find a way to bond with the White House press corps, or is the president trying to change the narrative from the Iran war, or change the narrative from Epstein? Those are all very, legitimate theories in a president that has become famous for his narrative projection and narrative spinning. I am going to say goodnight to you now. It's 11:15. Thank you very much for being here on this breaking news coverage, as the president's White House Correspondents' Dinner was interrupted with gunfire. Trump was rushed off the stage, as was Melania. This is the most high-profile event in D.C., with every cabinet secretary, every press person you can imagine is there, every media personality is there. And in this case, no one was hurt or died. That is remarkable, just to say that on its own. We should all be thankful for that. And tonight we'll leave you this final video of what happened as this event transpired from inside the White House Correspondents Dinner at the Hilton Hotel tonight. Leave you with these, and have a good night, everybody. Stay safe, enjoy your families and your rest of your weekend. We shall see you again on Narativ on Monday at 3 p.m. for the 5 Stack.